So, doing work, of course, mostly during breaks and lunch, I check my social media, Twitter, Facebook, and, excuse me, apparently one of the people I follow on Twitter and I subscribe to on YouTube, excuse me again, JD from NY206, apparently this weekend kind of got into it, sort of, with Tony Khan. JD is a very opinionated guy. If you watch his Off the Script podcast or the Tuesday Night Titans that he does with Jason Solomon, the Solomonster, he's a very opinionated guy. He will tell it, from his point of view, like it is, whether you agree with it or not. And he basically said something about, this little clip, that AEW put out there of Daniel Garcia, Private Party, and Orange Cassidy, basically giving his opinion of the fact of, Cassidy has been overexposed, Private Party has been, utilized into oblivion over the past 4 years, and Daniel Garcia is kind of in a stagnant mode, all thanks to Tony Khan. And one person replied by saying, "We believe in Daniel Garcia." And JD gave his own response by saying, "No, you don't," and just went from there. And then Tony Khan decided to chime in because JD, when he told this person sarcastically, I wouldn't say sarcastically, but when JD responded by saying, "No, you don't believe in him, and that would be stupid," or something to that extent, Tony Khan decided to chime in and say, to JD, it's wrong for him to say someone's stupid. And JD wasn't calling the person who said that they believe in Daniel Garcia stupid. He was just saying that the comment was stupid, mainly because of the fact that Tony Khan has yet to do really anything significant with the likes of Garcia, with the likes of Private Party, or anybody else that's pretty much looked at as the AEW job squad. So, it got me thinking, I get that AEW has its defenders. So does WWE. And there are some people that enjoy wrestling overall. It doesn't matter what promotion you're going to tune into and watch. I mean, heck, a lot of people are looking into the promise that MLPW, that's not My Little Pony, that's Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, MLPW, the new Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling under Scott D'Amore, everybody has high praise for the potential that has, going forward. And how it's got a good announcer in Mauro Ranallo, if you will, who used to do WWE, NXT, SmackDown, and even briefly TNA. And a lot of people have high hopes for MLPW because of the first two shows and, because of the commentating team that they have. But, here's the thing. You're going to have fans all over that enjoy all wrestling, that, enjoy one specific promotion or another, and you're going to have difference of opinions, but nobody has ever asked this one question. This is a question that people have asked about the future of, when it came to TNA's uncertain future. People have questioned this about Ring of Honor's uncertain future. Everybody has asked this question. And it's a question, believe it or not, that was actually asked, somewhat by Michael Cole, of all people, on the last on the simulcast between Nitro and Raw, when Michael Cole asked Vince McMahon, in character, in story, but legitimately, what happens to the brand of wrestling? And that is a good question. What happens to that brand of wrestling when it goes away? And that is a question AEW fans, mostly defenders and drones, and I'll even lump in regular all out, all out, basically overall wrestling fans, period. Both WWE, AEW, TNA, New Japan, MLPW, you name it. I'll lump everybody in there, but this is a question that should be asked, and that question is, what are you going to do if, and this is a big if, AEW is no longer here? They have, a 3-year run going forward, basically with WBD starting next year, which includes, simulcasting on Max and a discounted price on the pay-per-views on Max. And that's all. And that sounds all great and everything, but it's only for 3 years, and it's around what they've been getting anyway, if not a bit below or a bit higher, depending on the reports you believe. And they have that optional 4th year. Now, again, that all sounds great, but what's going to happen after those initial 3 years are over, and let's say that optional 4th year is not picked up? What's going to happen? What's going to happen if, let's say, the WBD, because they too have been in financial struggle, decides to find a buyer for a part of their company to take over? Because there have been reports and rumors that they've been looking at potential buyers, for a certain section or sections of the company. What's going to happen if the section of WBD that includes AEW, which they have a stake in and maybe even a bit of an ownership in, what's going to happen if that stake gets sold off to someone else, and they decide, you know what, AEW is not doing good, we don't want it around, let's get rid of it. And they decide to basically give it the WCW treatment and take it off the air. And take it off the air to the point that nobody will want to affiliate with it. That word will get around that, yeah, you can put this on your network, but you're going to be putting something on your network that's not worth a single penny that, they say they are. What are you going to do if suddenly this results in Tony Khan saying, unfortunately, we got to put AEW down? Again, not saying that will happen. It's a big, big if. Because AEW could surprise us within the next 3 years and just skyrocket right to the top. And I'm sure a lot of people would like that. Either the AEW followers or, overall fans. They would love to see AEW just go right to the top. Or at least get to that same level as WWE. And again, that could happen in the next 3 to 4 years. But what if it doesn't? What if, again, during this time, WBD sells a portion of themselves off that includes AEW, and the people they sell it off to say, we don't want AEW anymore because they're not worth, they're not worth the paper that, this media rights deal that they agreed upon back in 2024 for 2025, and going forward, it's not worth, the signature. It's not worth the value, it's not worth the bucks to put into it. What's going to happen again, like I said, big if, Tony Khan has to basically say AEW's done. Because, maybe word of mouth comes out from the new owners or the new partial owners that, hey, you want AEW Fox, you want AEW, let's say, Travel Channel, or, Travel Channel is part of them, but you get the idea, like, oh, you want AEW USA, or you want AEW Pop TV, you want it, fine, but you're going to be spending money on something that's not worth your time, and it's not going to draw you anything back. What the question is, what's going to happen if that day comes? What's going to happen? And, what are you going to do? What are you going to do if that happens? Okay, this is what I want to know. And I do apologize if I sound like I'm stumbling. I am tired. I did work today. But I wanted to get this out there. The question is, what are you going to do if that day comes? What if that day comes and a lot of these people that used to be part of WWE that went to AEW suddenly have to go back? What are you going to do? What are you going to do about that? What's your reaction going to be? What's your answer to that going to be? Are you going to be like, what are you going to do? You're going to strike, what are you going to do? Are you going to scramble for words like a lot of us content creators do when we go live and, we go unscripted? Are you going to struggle for words and excuses? Are you going to be like, it's those people that bought that portion of WBD, they don't like wrestling, just like the AOL time modern people do. It's their fault, it's never. Are you going to come up with that excuse? Or are you just going to be like, look, are you going to be just like, hey, we admit AEW was a niche, it was a phase, but we were glad it was here because it gave us that alternative that ECW and WCW gave us. And let's be honest, that's what this really is about. When you get down to it, this is nothing more than fans of the old ECW and WCW wanting an alternative and supporting that said alternative because their alternatives are no longer around. And that's it. You know, that's basically it. It's about them wanting that alternative back that ECW and to an extent WCW provided. You know, nothing more. Nothing more. And I don't think anybody could disagree with that. I don't think anybody would disagree with that. But again, you have to ask yourself, what are you going to do? Because believe it or not, there were people that were asking that same kind of question when WWE seemed to be on the verge of going out of business back in the mid to late 90s. You know, a lot of people were asking, what's going to happen if they go out of business? Where are these talents going to go? Are they going to go to WCW, ECW? You know, go into infamy? You know, what's going to happen? People were asking that question about TNA when it seemed to be getting ready to go out of business. Same with Ring of Honor. You know, what is the future? What's going to happen if they disappear forever? Where are these talents going to go? You see, this is a question you need to ask. What are you going to do? What's your reaction going to be if, big if, not saying it's going to happen, because they may do a big turnaround, but what's your reaction going to be if All Elite Wrestling eventually does have to shutter its doors? Ask yourself that. But that's all I want to say, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. I do apologize if I stuttered a little bit. I am tired. Like I said, I did work today. But give me your thoughts. And until then, I am out.